The air in the Beverly Hills ballroom, thick with the cloying scent of lilies and the hum of self-congratulatory chatter, felt suffocating to Diego Santos. At 17, his quiet presence in the opulent space was an anomaly, a stark contrast to the glittering tableau of privilege that surrounded him. His mother, a woman whose dignity far outweighed her humble uniform, moved quietly through the peripheral shadows, serving the very people who now turned their dismissive gazes upon her son. It was Victoria Whitman, a millionaire draped in diamonds and an aura of supreme arrogance, who initiated the insidious game. She extended a condescending invitation for Diego to play chess, not as an equal, but as a diversion, a curiosity to be toyed with. Her smile, thin and devoid of genuine warmth, implied a foregone conclusion. Around them, a chorus of polite, yet undeniably cruel, laughter rippled through the assembled elite. Their eyes, accustomed to judging worth by a person's zip code, swept over Diego's modest attire, lingering on his dark skin, silently confirming their preconceived notions. Chess. This boy. The unspoken question hung in the air, thick with contempt. They believed, with an almost religious certainty, that someone from his background, the son of a housekeeper, could possess no knowledge of a game they considered the exclusive domain of intellect and social standing. In their narrow view, he was an unwelcome intrusion, a mere novelty. What they could not, would not, comprehend was the silent, burning intensity behind Diego's calm eyes. For 8 years, while they pursued their superficial lives, he had dedicated himself to the intricate dance of the chessboard. Every worn page of a discarded chess book, every late night spent analyzing complex strategies in the hushed solitude of their small apartment, had honed his mind into a formidable weapon. He had trained in silence, fueled by an inner fire, patiently awaiting this very moment. With every dismissive glance, every whispered scoff, the resolve within him hardened, transforming the stinging humiliation into a quiet, unwavering determination to shatter their prejudiced world, one calculated move at a time. The game began, and with it, the palpable shift in the ballroom's atmosphere. Victoria, radiating an almost comical self-assurance, initiated her opening moves, textbook maneuvers she'd likely memorized from a glossy coffee table book on chess for the affluent. Her gestures were grand, her smile fixed, anticipating an easy victory. But then, Diego responded. His moves weren't flamboyant. They were precise, swift, and imbued with an unnerving confidence. He met her classic opening with the Sicilian defense, a strategic choice that immediately signaled a depth of understanding far beyond casual acquaintance with the game. Each of his countermoves was a calculated stroke, seemingly simple yet loaded with future implications that only a discerning eye could detect. A subtle ripple began to move through the onlookers. Those guests who possessed a genuine, if rusty, knowledge of chess exchanged glances. A flicker of surprise, then outright curiosity, replaced their initial dismissive amusement. They leaned forward, their private conversations fading as they recognized the quiet intelligence unfolding on the board. In the periphery, Carmen, Diego's mother, stood, her heart a drumbeat against her ribs. She watched her son, her hands clasped tightly, a familiar wave of pride swelling within her. She saw the subtle tightening of his jaw, the focused intensity in his eyes, and then, the fleeting, almost imperceptible confident smile that touched his lips. It was a smile she knew intimately, a silent signal that spoke volumes. It was the same smile he wore when he quietly conquered complex math problems or outwitted virtual opponents on their old, flickering computer screen. It was the smile that promised something grand was about to unfold, a quiet detonation of talent that had been so meticulously hidden, so patiently nurtured. The initial condescending murmurs of the crowd had dissolved, replaced by a growing, expectant hush as the subtle genius of the young man began to make itself undeniably known. As the chess pieces danced across the polished board, Diego's mind drifted back, not with nostalgia, but with the sharp clarity of a strategic review. He was 9 years old again, his small fingers tracing the faded diagrams in a tattered chessbook, rescued from a library's trash bin. That discarded volume had been his portal, a silent mentor that had unlocked a world of intricate logic and profound beauty. It was in those quiet, solitary hours, fueled by an insatiable hunger for knowledge, that his true genius had begun to bloom, hidden from a world that had already decided his limitations. Back in the glittering ballroom, Diego's movements were swift, decisive, and unerringly accurate. Each piece moved with the chilling precision of a pre-planned script, executed perfectly within the confines of his brilliant mind. Victoria, oblivious to the intricate web being woven around her, misinterpreted his speed as impatience, a sign of amateurish haste. Her smirk suggested she found his quick moves a delightful display of his presumed lack of discipline. But Mr. Hamilton, a seasoned chess player whose quiet observations had already stripped away his initial prejudices, recognized the sinister elegance unfolding before him. He saw beyond the individual moves, recognizing the complex pattern, the subtle yet relentless pressure building. Diego wasn't just playing, he was constructing a masterpiece of strategy, a nuanced variation of the Sicilian dragon, an aggressive, deeply tactical opening that demanded foresight and a comprehensive understanding of the game. With each passing turn, Diego's control of the board tightened, a relentless vice squeezing Victoria into a corner. Her initial confidence began to visibly crack, replaced by a growing tension around her eyes, a subtle tremor in her manicured hands. The game, once a casual amusement, had transformed into a psychological battle, and she was clearly losing. The dawning realization of her opponent's true prowess, the chilling understanding that she was not just playing a boy, but confronting a hidden, formidable intellect, began to creep into her, morphing her arrogance into a burgeoning sense of fear. The silence in the room became heavy, broken only by the sharp click of the pieces, each sound a deliberate hammer blow in Diego's meticulously executed conspiracy. The game surged to its inexorable climax, a meticulously engineered trap sprung with devastating precision. Diego executed a seemingly innocuous pawn sacrifice, a move that masked a hidden, deadly snare from which Victoria, despite her mounting panic, found no escape. It was a move not merely of tactical genius, but of symbolic power, a final, unanswerable blow to her unearned confidence. After making the decisive move, Diego did not wait for her inevitable surrender. Instead, he rose from the chessboard, his gaze unwavering, and walked deliberately towards his mother, Carmen. He leaned in, his voice a low whisper, yet each word vibrated with profound significance. "Mama, I told you, didn't I? I told you I'd show them who we really are." It was more than a promise of victory. It was a quiet, potent declaration of their inherent worth, a defiant reassertion of dignity against years of dismissive judgment. Victoria, her face now a mask of confusion and mounting dread, demanded he continue, her voice sharp with a desperate urgency. She clung to the fading hope that this nightmare was merely a fluke, a momentary lapse in her presumed superiority. But Diego's 11th move sealed her fate. It created a double threat, a checkmate in 2 moves that left Victoria trapped, cornered, with no avenues for escape. The elegant simplicity of the final sequence was brutal in its effectiveness. With a calm that mirrored the storm raging within Victoria, Diego explained that he had learned this very tactic from the games of Garry Kasparov, a name that, while undoubtedly familiar to Victoria, would now forever be linked in her mind with her own humiliating defeat at the hands of a teenager she had scorned. Carmen, unable to contain her pride, stepped forward, her voice trembling but filled with an unwavering joy as she spoke of her son's extraordinary efforts to teach himself the game, of the countless nights he had spent hunched over an old, worn chessboard, meticulously studying. Finally, with a deliberate, unhurried movement, Diego advanced his knight, delivering the final, inescapable checkmate. It was more than a victory in a chess game, it was the definitive collapse of Victoria's arrogance, a crushing defeat delivered by the very person she had so carelessly dismissed. The silence that followed was absolute, weighted with the undeniable truth that had just been laid bare. Victoria, her face contorted in a desperate, almost pathetic attempt at denial, sputtered protests, but her words were hollow, drowned out by the undeniable truth that had just unfolded. Mr. Hamilton, his initial skepticism long vanished, and Congresswoman Mills, a woman whose keen eye for talent transcended social strata, both stepped forward, unequivocally acknowledging Diego's exceptional genius. Mills, recognizing the raw, untapped potential, wasted no time. Her offer of a full university scholarship was a beacon of light, a promise of a future Diego had only dared to dream of, now laid out before him, clear and undeniable. The video of that pivotal chess match, a silent testament to Diego's triumph, swept through social media like wildfire. Within 2 weeks, it had garnered an astonishing 3 million views, transforming Diego overnight into a national symbol of perseverance against adversity, a powerful role model for countless individuals trapped by circumstance. Conversely, Victoria became the quintessential example of arrogance and entrenched prejudice, her name now synonymous with a public, humiliating downfall. For Carmen, Diego's mother, the victory was equally profound and deeply personal. She received a promotion to sanitation supervisor at a prestigious 5-star hotel, her salary more than tripling, complete with full medical benefits, a liberating release from years of arduous, underpaid labor. But Diego's impact extended far beyond individual success. With his newfound platform and resources, he didn't just bask in the glory. He immediately launched a free online chess program for children from underserved communities. This initiative wasn't just about teaching chess, it was about connecting these aspiring young minds with university mentors, igniting sparks of hope and opportunity for a generation often overlooked. Diego's remarkable journey, from an underestimated boy to a national inspiration, served as an irrefutable testament. True worth isn't measured by wealth or social standing, but by unwavering character, relentless perseverance, and the remarkable ability to transform the very barriers meant to hold you back into launchpads for brilliance, forging a lasting legacy for both himself and his community.